Chief Chacon has been in that position since April of 2021. His career with APD spans 25 years, all the way back to 1998. And as we wait for the chief's remark, I want to bring in senior reporter Tony Poletsky, who is live from APD headquarters. Tony, you broke this story earlier today. Can you touch on the time span, how 2 years, it was an eventful 2 years?
Jenny, it absolutely was, and one of the things that we are expected to hear is from Chief Chacon himself about some of the accomplishments, some of the things that he is proud of during his 2-year tenure, and the city this morning released a statement highlighting some of those, including reforming how the department conducts crowd control at major events like the social justice protest of 2020, and also a new policy that the chief put in place in 2021 concerning the release of video after police shootings. Now, under this new policy that the chief put in place in 2021, the department releases those videos within 10 days. And Jenny, right now we are seeing the chief and his executive staff soon to enter this conference room. But again, this news conference is going to give us an opportunity to really hear in his own words his decision. According to the statement that he released this morning, he said that he had been thinking about this for quite some time, several months as a matter of fact, he said in his statement, but deciding that today is the day to make this formal announcement. We also are anticipating that we will hear, Jenny, additionally about the process that the city may take in terms of hiring its next chief. We know that the next interim chief will be Robin Henderson. She is a 26-year veteran of APD, and so she will step into the shoes of Chief Chacon in early September when he departs, Jenny.
And Chief of Staff Robin Henderson, as you've mentioned earlier, Tony, is well respected and a veteran of the department.
She is, and she has overseen a number of different bureaus and divisions within the department, really all of them during the course of her 26-year career. But again, Jenny, this all coming at a time when the department has been through a lot of challenges over the past several years. As of right now, they have about 330 vacancies that they are attempting to fill. And of course, policing in Austin remains a high-profile issue. Most recently, we've seen a lot of discussion about a partnership between Austin Police and the Texas Department of Public Safety. That has been a high-profile issue, but Jenny, here comes the chief now, so we will be hearing from him, and I'm going to step out of the way.
Let's listen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I think we all know why we're here, so I'm just going to kind of jump right into it. Several weeks ago, I began considering whether it might be my time to go ahead and retire from the Austin Police Department. And I'll tell you that when that thought came into my head, it was pretty, certainly unsolicited. I had not thought about that before, and quite frankly, it was a little bit out of the blue. I continued to consider that possibility for some time, and the more I did, the more that I knew that the time was right for me. Because when you know, you just know. This year completed 31 years of police work for me, over 25 years of which have been here at APD. I did 6 years, almost 6 years with El Paso Police Department. That's where I began my career. I have served at every rank. And it was an honor to be able to do so here in the capital city of Texas for this incredible city that I have come to love and that I call home. Along the way, I've had the fortune to work with incredible people from whom I've learned and I've grown. And I want to say a very special few thank yous to Chief Stan Nee, who was the chief when I started here in 1998, Chief Art Acevedo, who was a friend and a mentor, and who gave me the promotion to assistant chief, and really my first opportunity to serve at this level just prior to his departure in 2016 to the Houston Police Department. Other friends and colleagues along the way, including Chief Brian Manley, from whom I have learned so much, and most importantly, to the men and women of the Austin Police Department, current and retired, whom I've had the honor of serving alongside and serving with to keep the city of Austin one of the safest big cities in America. In my time as Chief of Police, we've been able to accomplish several important milestones on our journey of continual improvement as an agency and as a profession. Shortly after I took over, I changed the critical incident video release policy, and we currently release all critical incident video within 10 days of occurrence to help improve that transparency. We've made significant improvements to our sexual assault response and investigation protocols, and we rejoined the sexual assault response and resource team, which will ultimately lead to better outcomes for survivors of sexual assault in our community. We've updated our policies and training related to crowd control so that we never again have the tragic circumstances and outcomes that we saw of the protests of 2020. And we've made significant improvements to our training academy, starting with cadets and the way they are taught and the way they learn, as well as a strong focus on de-escalation, communication, wellness, and resiliency. Our anti-racism work continues with training for both cadets and current officers and civilian employees because it's so important for this profession. I want to thank a few other folks for helping me along this journey, and without whom the successes that we've been able to attain would not have been possible. First, former City Manager Spencer Cronk and former Assistant City Manager Ray Ariano, both of whom had the confidence in me to appoint me to such an important position. To Interim City Manager Jesus Garza and Interim Assistant City Manager Bruce Mills, who's also here this afternoon, who have demonstrated unflagging support of me and this department and who continue to make the city a better place to work. To my executive staff, who have worked harder than any executive team that I have witnessed in my time at APD and who care deeply for this department and its men and women. To my wife Yvette, who has stood with me, beside me, and at times behind me, propping me up when the going was tough. I absolutely could not have done it without her. And most importantly, to the men and women of the Austin Police Department. I ask this city and all its citizens for them to support these amazing individuals as they daily put on the uniform and they kiss their loved ones and they take to the streets where they will continually run into unforeseen circumstances and have to make split-second decisions, some of those being life and death decisions, as they work to keep this community safe. They deserve our love, our admiration, our grace, and our respect for this incredibly difficult job that no one else wants to do. I love each and every one of them, sworn and civilian. And I'll continue to support them in any way that I can on whatever road the good Lord puts me and allows me to continue to serve. For the Spanish-speaking members of our community, trabajar con los hombres y mujeres uniformados y civiles de este increíble departamento ha sido el privilegio de mi vida. Ser el jefe de policía es algo que nunca pensé que sería posible y ha sido la cumbre de mi carrera y un honor absoluto servirles. I'm excited to begin this new chapter, and knowing that the question is coming, I will tell you up front that I certainly have some prospects and some hopes for what the future holds but nothing solid and no job that I'm transitioning to at this time. I do want to continue in a role where I can make a difference and where I can put my ideas and actions to work to help continually improve this profession. It is a bittersweet moment, but a moment that comes nonetheless for every single police officer. I am glad to be leaving in my time and on my terms, with my head up, and as a good friend tells me all the time, leaning into the wind. I ask that all my officers do the same. The citizens of this city depend on you, and I know you won't let them down. Thank you. And I think that, were you going to make some comments?
Now you got me choked up over here. Take a place. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Bruce Mills, Interim Assistant City Manager for Austin. And build on what Chief Chacon said, I just want to add to it. First of all, I congratulate him on 31 years, and I'm trying to do the math. 31 here, 25 in this department. That's a long career for anybody, and to have that type of career he's had and be able to retire as chief is obviously a pinnacle in any career. I appreciate his desire to retire after such a rewarding career in this city, and of course wish him the best of luck in his next chapter, as he talked about. So Chief Chacon's retirement does create a hole in any organization, a high-profile position like that. We're in a unique position at this time to have a stand-up interim assistant chief who was chief of staff for Joe Chacon for the last couple of years, which makes it a really smooth transition. And so that will be occurring in the next couple of weeks, as Chief said. I know there'll be questions about the process for permanent chief, and of course there will be a process. There will be a search at some point. There's no urgency in that endeavor. But again, I just want to say I appreciate the Chief Chacon agreeing to stay with us for a while to make a transition even smoother by staying several weeks to help Chief Henderson step into those shoes. So with that, take any questions as well.
Chief, was there a final factor that pushed you to make this decision?
No. And like I said, I have been thinking about this for several months. And really what it came down to is just a very personal decision about, my career, my family, and just figuring out that it was just my time.
Chief, what would you say to the next APD chief of Austin?
Well, I know who the next interim chief is going to be, and that's going to be Chief Henderson. And she and I have had many conversations in the days leading up to this. I would say, please lead with your heart. I know that she does that. That's why I feel like, for as tough as this decision is, that I take a little bit of comfort in knowing that we're leaving the organization in very good hands with Chief Henderson. She will be as responsive, if not more so, than I have been to community, to stakeholders, to all of the, principal players in keeping this city safe. She will be able to do that, and to whoever ultimately is going to be the next chief, that they do the same. I really tried to make a commitment, and I was very verbal about it during my confirmation, that I was going to listen, that I was going to listen to our community, and I was going to be responsive to that. And I think that I have done that. And I think it's important for whoever the next chief is to do that as well.
Building off of that, when you were sworn in, you were talking about wanting to improve the department's relationship with the community and with the Austin Police Association. How do you think you've done on those fronts?
I would certainly encourage you to go to those various stakeholders and to the union president and ask that same thing. From my perspective, I think that the relationships have significantly improved. I have very good, discussions. Even walking into here, was talking with some of our local community groups about the transition and what that was going to look like. And we're on a first name basis with one another. And with the union, I know how important it is to have stability in this department, and the way that we need to do that is with a contract. So I'm still encouraging the president to go back to the table because I know that in the end that's going to be better for public safety, better for the department.
Chief, I know you have a lot to be proud of, what you've talked about here today. Looking back, are there any regrets or things you might have done differently, and specifically any comment on the most recent controversy, which is DPS policing information?
You know, I'm not going to. It's tough for me to put it into words a little bit because I consider myself a law and order chief. As much as I think that it's important that we are responsive, and I have been responsive to our community, and we're trying different things, law and order is very important. The DPS situation was one in which we were able to bring more officers, more troopers, more law enforcement personnel into the community in order to help keep the community safer, and we saw it. We saw the fruits of that labor. So I would encourage, if there's a way to get back to that we do that again, that we have that strong collaboration. With regard to disappointments, I'll just tell you, where we sit in staffing today, I'm disappointed. And I want us to get back to a place where we have more Austin police officers out there. This community has been used to a certain level of service for years. I always tell the story that if someone had the potted plant that was stolen off their patio, they could pick up the phone and call 911 and they'd get an officer out there to go take that report for them. I used to take those reports when I was on the street. We can't do that right now because we just don't have enough officers. That's frustrating to me, and it is a huge disappointment. We need to get there, and I think that we can get there and will get there. It's going to take a lot of work.
I know you said there was not a determining factor to step down. It's something that has been on your mind, but we have to ask, taking into account everything that's going on in APD, was it even this a way for you to decide, I better retire on my own terms before City Hall makes a different decision, like removing you out of that place or putting someone else instead?
I'll tell you that there's been no hint that I've caught. If those conversations are happening, it's outside of my presence about not having me be the chief anymore. And I'll go one step further to say that, I think I'm okay to say this. There was some conversations had about, Chief, please don't leave. We need the stability right now, and we need you to stay. So I feel like I did have very strong support coming from City Hall and from the city manager's office, and I'm very grateful for that. Again, just a personal decision about where I am with me and my family.
How does the job compare, now that you're reflecting on it, to the expectations you had going into it?
Oh gosh, you're full of hope when you take the position, and certainly I was full of energy. I still feel like my energy level is high, and I want to I want to keep working. I want to do something else and continue to be relevant. But then you can look back and see where mistakes were made, where things could have been done a little bit differently, and where you had great success, and where we've been able to make some really good decisions that are helping the department, that are helping our community, and we're starting to, I really feel like we're starting to turn things around. So it's important for me to turn it over, I think, in this moment to someone that I trust and to a team that I trust, and this department is going to continue to do great things.
Do any of the prospects you hinted at keep you in Austin?
I'll tell you, I think I'm pretty committed to staying in Austin. Really don't want to move. I've just got to see whatever those prospects can turn out to be. But I wasn't kidding when I said that Austin is my home. It's a place that I love. I really, really don't want to move.
Chief, you said that you were worried that people at City Hall told you that you were worried about instability. What would you say to people that do maybe see this, that maybe the police department is unstable?
Yeah, I hope that people don't take my departure as a sign of instability, because it's not. We have a solid person who's stepping into the seat in Chief Robin Henderson, and she is going to do an incredible job, whether that's interim or whether she puts in for the permanent position. There are a number of challenges right now in law enforcement. Austin notwithstanding, we have our share of challenges as well. But just understand this is a great place to live and to work and to raise a family. And the Austin Police Department is incredibly supportive of its employees. And that is going to continue.
What's it going to be like for you watching, whether you stay in Austin or not, watching these challenges and just watching, what unfolds in the police department from the outside?
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to do that because, I've been involved in those conversations at the core of them many times as we're making those kind of decisions. So it's going to be a transition to get out of that type of mindset because I've been in it for so long.
Chief, what do the next several weeks look like for you as you kind of transition out? We're talking about instability and morale. How do you kind of transition out, talk with your officers, and get them to the next phase?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that question because, I certainly have a message for my officers. I said it a little bit during my opening comments that I love and I respect them, that I want to take care of them. But for them to not take my departure for anything other than what it is, which is a personal decision that was made by the chief, and that this department and this city will continue to support them, that I know, because I'm in the community all the time, I know how much community members support them, and it should not be viewed as something that is going to destabilize this department. I plan to stay on, as a matter of fact, in a role for a short period of time to help transition in the interim chief, to provide whatever support I can for her, as well as the city manager, in moving the department, keeping it going and keeping it going in a good way.
Chief, we've obviously got a new mayor, a strong-willed mayor. Any comment on the relationship with the mayor, and any advice for the next chief coming in who will be working with Mayor Wise?
Yeah, I think that you have to certainly maintain that line of communication with the mayor and with the city council, and that is going to be incredibly important because I've had many conversations with both the mayor and with city council, and I know they care. The problem is that many times my cops don't, and I would love for them to be very, to show that support that I know that they have for the department in very real ways, both with their words and with their actions, to continue to do that for the officers. And I think that for the next chief, that's going to be important as well. All right, thank you all very much, and I appreciate y'all being here today.
Thank you.
And after 2 years as Austin's top cop, as chief of police, that was Joseph Chacon announcing his retirement, talking about what he planned to do next. No set job, he said, but he is exploring his options, looking at different prospects. This announcement coming as a surprise to his men and women of the department. They received an email just this morning about this news. Now, he did say this was a bittersweet moment for him. He got emotional at times. His voice was quivering. People in the crowd also mentioned that they were getting a little emotional as well. Our senior reporter, Tony Pohetsky, is in that room at APD headquarters. He's there for the press conference. And Tony, what are your thoughts about his announcement?
Well, Jenny, I think the biggest takeaway is that certainly any time a major executive in this public space, like a city official, steps down, there's often a lot of conversation and even speculation about what went on behind the scenes. I think it's striking that the chief today took complete ownership for his decision, saying that this was something that he had been thinking about. He made it very clear, if we take him at his word, that there was nothing that went on behind the scenes to push him out the door. In fact, he went as far as to reiterate that he was asked to stay in his position to maintain department stability. So, Jenny, I think that's one of the major points to come out of this news conference this afternoon.
Tony, also interesting that Bruce Mills, interim assistant city manager, said while there will be a process to find the next chief, there's no sense of urgency to do so. Did you find that interesting as well?
Well, when you look at the whole picture of what is happening in our local government. There is an interim city manager, an interim assistant city manager over public safety, and so I think the conversation in coming weeks and months, Jenny, will be whether or not they go about the process of hiring a new police chief, or instead they wait for a new city manager to be hired so that he or she could then hire their own police chief. So again, we're looking at a process that could unfold over several months, maybe even a year or longer. But again, officials reiterating that they have a good person, Robin Henderson, who is the chief of staff for the police department, has been in that role for 2 years, who will step up and serve as interim police chief until a permanent police chief is found.
Yeah, even Chief Chacon said this departure is not a sign of instability, leaving the department in good hands with Chief of Staff Robin Henderson. Tony, thank you so much for that live report. Want to go over a little bit of Robin Henderson taking over the department as the new interim chief coming on in next year. She has been Chief of Staff, as you can see, since 2021. She's been with the department, though, since 1997. We, of course, will keep following this story as it develops. We'll have more coming up on KVUE News at 5 and 6. For now, that's all from us for now. See you back here later.